remember. You can just say it's pelting down, it's pouring down as well. So pouring down is also possible, pour down. But yeah, you can say it's pelting down. Okay, if something freezes up or freezes over, it becomes frozen. You can also say freeze up for when a person freezes. They freeze up. They don't move, usually because they're frightened. So we'd use this one for fear, freeze up. A bit like dry up in the middle of a speech from fear or nervousness. But freeze over would be the river or the lake. Now, if somebody breezes into work, it just means that they come in a really relaxed, confident manner. They breeze into work and they're just really laid back and relaxed and confident. The point about breeze in is that you walk into a room or office with confidence. That's the point. You're really confident. And it's a bit like when you breeze through an exam, which is the same as sail through an exam. If you breeze through an interview or breeze through an exam, it was really easy. You were just really confident and it was easy. You got all the questions right. Okay, we've said that clouds can blot out the sun. It can cloud over, the sun can go in. But in other weather, when it's very cold, in your car, the windows might fog up. They might mist up, they might steam up. And that's when you can write your name in the window if you're like doing that kind of thing. And I think all little kids do. And so car windows, but I mean not just cars, office windows as well can fog up, can steam up. The shower, when you've got the shower on, the windows all mist up, of course. If you freeze someone out of a deal, then that means that you've got some kind of negotiation or deal going on, but you don't want one person to be included, and you freeze that person out. So it means exclude someone from business, exclude someone from some kind of deal that you have. That's when you freeze someone out. So perhaps you're not happy with that person or you don't trust that person, so you freeze them out of the deal. Now, if somebody storms out of a meeting or storms into a meeting, it means they walk out or in a really bad mood. And by the way, we might say their face has clouded over, because a face can cloud over as well when you're in a bad mood, and their face clouded over and they stormed out the meeting. Okay? Now, people can well up. When people well up, or people's eyes well up, or when their eyes mist over, this actually means that your eyes fill with water, because they fill with tears, not water, but they fill with tears because you're about to cry. So it's when you're feeling very upset or emotional that your eyes well up or mist over, or maybe you're watching a really touching film and your eyes start to well up. Okay, if you freeze up, we've already done this one, you just stop moving because of fear. If your face clouds over, we've done that one, you suddenly look like you're in a really bad mood. It's just suddenly a dark cloud passes over your face. If the sun breaks through the clouds, then it comes out. So we've done something very similar there too. And clouds or fog or mist can also roll in the same way that people can roll up to a party, like turn up or show up to a party. But roll up I'd normally use if they drew up in a car. Okay, let's save these ones for 49. If a place is bursting with tourists, or crawling with tourists as well, I got this just from the TV show I was just watching. It's not actually in the book, but it came up in the TV show, and I thought that's great. That's just like bursting with. So if the city centre is crawling with tourists, it means it's bursting with tourists. There's loads of them. And please remember brimming with enthusiasm, with positive feelings. You know, brimming with excitement, that kind of thing. Meaning full of again, full of enthusiasm. If a place is steeped in history or culture or traditions, it's full of those things. But this phrasal verb collocates very well with history, culture and traditions. Now, a place can also be dotted with churches or dotted with cafes, and it just means they've got loads of this particular item. But remember as well the negative one, riddled with holes, riddled with disease. You can use this with any negative thing. So you could certainly say something like the city is riddled with dingy bars and run-down restaurants, because then it's negative. And so you can certainly say the city is riddled with horrible rundown restaurants and derelict buildings, that kind of thing. If you blend in the crowd, that nobody notices that you are different from everybody else. You blend in, you look like everybody else. And if you don't blend in, then you stand out from the crowd. You stick out like a sore thumb. And this was just in the TV show I've just watched as well. Stick out like a sore thumb. The woman was talking to an FBI agent and she said, "You stick out like a sore thumb here," because he was wearing all of his suit and everybody else was in the bar wearing casual clothes. And so he did. He stuck out like a sore thumb. Now, if somebody encroaches on your personal space, that means they overstep the boundary. They overstep the limit of what you consider your personal space and they're too close to you. But your neighbour could encroach on your garden if they start to try and push some of their garden into your garden. Or maybe the neighbour's tree encroaches on your garden. It comes over the fence and it takes up a lot of space. So encroach on means go over the limits of something, to go past the boundary of something, to go further than you should actually go. Let me just check everything's working. Yep, it all seems to be working okay. Okay, if a building is set back from the other buildings, that means that building is slightly further back than the other buildings. That's all it means, but setback can also mean a delay in progress, a hindrance, an obstacle, especially the noun a setback. So it does mean something else as well. And you might say, what this is really, well, holding back your progress, I'd normally say, but a setback would be an obstacle as well. Okay, you can soak up the atmosphere, you can take in the atmosphere, meaning absorb. So that both these phrasal verbs really mean absorb, but we very often see it collocated with atmosphere. I was soaking up the atmosphere and having fun. But you can even soak up the sunshine, amazingly enough, meaning absorb the sunshine. You're taking, if you're sunbathing, you're soaking up the sunshine. Okay, run down always means derelict, dirty, old, damaged, not looked after. So a rundown restaurant will be an old and unattractive, dirty restaurant. Not a very nice place. So if it's not a nice place, you really ought to do it up. You ought to decorate it. You ought to jazz up the colour scheme. And remember, even sex up for make something more sexy. It's kind of related to these two verbs. If something is offset against something else, normally it's offset against something else, it means it is compensated against something else. So you might say that the advantages are offset against the disadvantages, and it just means they equalise, yeah, they compensate each other. Now, if a roof caves in, I certainly hope this roof never caves in, or if the roof falls in, it just means collapse. So cave in or fall in can mean collapse with buildings. If a building is boarded up, it means all the